the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, THCF, or the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, or CRRH. We have a great show for you tonight. We have a special guest from a group that puts on the Million Marijuana Marches, Doug Green from Cures Not Wars, and back from New York City. Here, as is Madeline Martinez of Oregon NORML. We'll be talking about the upcoming Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards. And our longtime associate and World War II hero, Dr. Philip Levesque, is here. We'll be answering your phone calls and chatting about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp, and helping medical marijuana patients. And there, of course, is Tim Pate, who will be singing you a song just after we go to our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves.
Hello, folks. Since this is one of those cold and rainy nights here in the Northwest, since this is live and this is Friday, and if you're getting it live, you know it's cold and rainy outside. I wrote this song many years ago on such a night, so I figured I'd sing it tonight. Dance to this one, you'll have to do it slow. I'll tell you about an old story about out in the cold, crying in the rain. There was a man, he had a woman, of course. Then one night just left without a fight. He's out in the cold and crying in the rain. He's out in the cold and crying in the rain. He's out in the cold. Was a woman, a lover I'm told. She just went right out that same door. She's out in the cold and crying in the rain. She's out in the cold and crying in the rain. She's out in the cold. How they to dance to this one. You better do it slow, or you'll end up like that old story. You'll be out in the cold, crying in the rain. You'll be out in the cold, crying in the rain. You'll be out in the cold. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to invite you, if you have a question for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. Looks like we have a caller on hold. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hi. I just got my medical marijuana card, and I was just wondering what time and where is the NORML meeting tomorrow?
It is at the corner of Southeast 49th and Hawthorne Boulevard at the Mount Tabor Theater. And the door, you want to be there no later than 11:30. Be there no earlier than 11.
Okay,
You open the doors, what, at 11?
We open the doors at 11, but people actually start lining up quite early.
Yeah.
And we get almost a couple of hundred people, so...
The building has reached capacity
Plan
in the
ahead.
past on a few occasions.
And dress
Okay.
for the rain, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've
Yes.
got to have a medical marijuana permit, and
Yeah,
you've
I
got to be over 21 and be an Oregon NORML member.
And
Yeah, I just got my medical marijuana card, and I just wanted to join NORML and
come on out.
meet some people and stuff.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
we're glad
fun.
to see you.
Okay.
So a little taste of Amsterdam right here in Portland.
Okay.
That's the way I like to look at it.
Very little.
And it helps a lot of patients. That's the main thing, is
really
that
does.
patients who don't have access to plants or medicine elsewhere
Yeah.
have a place where they can come.
Exactly, and we have excess medicine that we give away each and every meeting. And if you have cuttings, or if you know someone who has cuttings, if you're out there listening and you have some clean cuttings, please bring them to share. We're a self-sustaining community, and we ask everyone to bring what they can to donate. We have some door prizes, and many people come and give donations of all sorts.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, we look forward to meeting you.
All right. Bye-bye.
And a lot of people even bring their own chairs, their folding chairs, because we only have
packed.
100 chairs and there's 200 people, so
Right.
it's quite
You've got to
crowded.
sit down. It's good to have a chair.
Well, that's
It really
right
is.
there. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. Thanks for your call. If you've got a question for us, call us at 503-288-4448. So, Doug, this is Doug Green in from Cures Not Wars,
Yes,
correct?
that's right.
And they've kind of evolved out of the old yippie movement in the years past and based at 9 Bleecker in
That's right.
Greenwich
At 9,
Village.
yes, at 9 Bleecker Street now, there's actually a Lenny Bruce Comedy Club on the
really?
ground floor, and there was just an item in page 6. Roseanne Barr has now appeared there twice. Kind of impromptu surprise performances, but we've actually had Roseanne Barr in the old home of the Yippies.
Wow. That's something. So you're out here west visiting, and are you helping organize the marches, or you're just checking out?
Here in Portland, I'm actually staying with the daughter of our leader, Dana Beal. She's
I didn't know Dana's daughter was here.
Dana's daughter is here in Portland. She goes to PSU, lives in Southeast. So I've been staying with her and just vacationing out here.
Cool.
Involved in a lot of things back in New York, not just marijuana policy reform, but a lot of different aspects of drug policy reform.
Well, why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. What would you like to talk about?
Go ahead.
Well, the various aspects you're involved in, like of drug policy reform.
One of the big issues we have in New York is the mandatory minimum sentences.
Sure,
in
the
New
Rockefeller
York.
drug laws.
Rockefeller drug laws, that's right. And as you probably know, back in the spring, Elliot Spitzer sort of fell
from grace.
Fell into disgrace, and was replaced by a former state senator named David Patterson, who is, I believe, the first blind governor in American history. And he was a state senator from Harlem, and he was one of the most vocal supporters of the Rockefeller drug laws, repeal or reform of the Rockefeller drug laws, not the laws themselves. Those date back to 1973. And
for our viewers who don't know about the Rockefeller drug laws, they're these draconian laws that make people with minor amounts of drugs go to prison for 20 years to life, right?
It used to be 15 years to life. They made some minor changes to the laws in 2004, 2005, where they made the sentences determinate. So the maximum sentence now is 8 to 20. 8 to 20 determinate sentence. And David Patterson has been a big supporter of getting these laws changed. Actually, the governor has a Midtown Manhattan office as well as the one in the Capitol in Albany, and he was actually arrested doing civil disobedience, protesting the laws. So we had been waiting for him to do something on this, and our big news out of November 4th was that our state Senate had been controlled by the Republicans for decades, I believe at least since the mid-'70s. And we went from a one-seat Republican control of the state Senate to a two-seat Democratic control of the state Senate. So now all the levers of power in New York State are controlled by the Democrats, and they are very favorable. The new Senate Majority Leader, Malcolm Smith, who's an African-American from Queens, he's behind this. Dick Gottfried, who's an assemblyman, very liberal assemblyman from the Upper West Side, he's introduced a medical marijuana bill to several sessions, has actually been passed by the Assembly both this year and last year, and so we're hopeful that in the next
What
session...
happened? Did the governor veto it? Or
No, it just never made it through the Senate.
Oh, I see.
The Senate Republicans had been the
real
roadblock. As a matter of fact, Rob Campion, MPP, had a fundraiser in New York back in May, which I went to, and Joe Bruno, who is the old Senate Majority Leader, sent one of his staff members down there, and all the activists I spoke to couldn't understand why they were honoring him when he had really not done anything to advance the bill to get it onto the floor of the Senate, get a vote on it.
But now they have a majority and can bring that to a vote.
Yes, so we're very hopeful for both, hopefully, Rockefeller drug law reform and medical marijuana coming in the next session that starts in January and goes through June.
Right. Well, that'd be great. New York would be a big coup. I mean, one of the largest. I mean, you know, Michigan was pretty big. It's in the top 10 of the states by population, but New York used to be the largest. Now it's the second largest state, right?
New York is actually, I'm sure it's, probably at least third largest behind California and Texas.
Texas has passed New York now in population.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've, for several decades now, we've been losing
people.
Losing members of Congress.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
that's really exciting.
That certainly is. That certainly is. Those laws have sent a lot of good people to prison for a long, long time. And so...
got to change it.
Are there any other breakthroughs? I mean, you talked about medical marijuana. So how's the marches back there? I know, the Million Marijuana March originated there.
Right.
And so Cures Not Wars is obviously spearheading that still.
Yeah, we're still spearheading that. The marches in New York have been somewhat mixed. A lot of Dana's resources go towards spreading the march.
Sure.
He sends out newsletters, and apparently we just got, I think, Benton Harbor, Washington, which I think outside of Seattle, and so we're up to at least 203 cities for next May, and possibly we're aiming for hopefully at least 300.
Great. Well, we have a caller. Let's take a phone call. Hello, you're on our show.
Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Hello? Hello?
Okay. Goodbye.
He needs to turn his TV down.
Yeah. We have to tell our viewers that if you're going to call in, you should turn your TV down, and hopefully they'll get the sound through the earpiece. The soundboard is something. We're all volunteers here.
Yeah.
So both in front of the camera, and there's twice as many people behind the camera as there are in front of it here. So it takes a real team to put on a television show like this. So if you're calling in, turn your TV down, please, so we don't get nasty feedback. But you can call us at 503-288-4448.
Oh, you sound like you got a cold.
I lost my voice completely on Tuesday. I was in Missoula, Montana, seeing patients in Montana for the first time. I saw him with Dr. Eric Eisenbud in Billings, Montana on Monday, in Missoula, Montana on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I flew to Detroit and found an office, so we'll start seeing Michigan medical marijuana patients on December 4th, the day that the medical marijuana law goes into effect in Michigan. So we're pretty excited about that.
How are you getting your patients?
Right now, NORML lawyers are referring them to us. And we come up pretty high on the internet. So our internet search, if you put in medical marijuana doctors or medical marijuana clinics, we come right up at the top. So
that's great.
Now, Google will not sell us advertising. I've bought advertising. They canceled it. They won't let us advertise medical services. I told them, no, we don't sell marijuana. We don't have anything to do with acquiring marijuana, but still, Google won't let us buy advertising. But fortunately, I guess their algorithms put us up at the top on those searches. So how have you been, Madeline?
I've been great, just working my fingers to the bone, getting ready for the Medical Cannabis Awards, the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards.
Coming up on the 13th of December,
That's
Saturday
right.
the 13th?
Yes, we just got the sample packets out to the judges last weekend, and so they're all just really inspired and, you know, just learning so much about the medicine and enjoying their evaluation and finding what works best for them, for their particular symptoms.
Right.
And I don't know if the camera can come up on this.
Yeah, I'm sure camera 2, Sylvia, you might be able to pull in on this.
The Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards is our 7th year. We're really excited. Alan St. Pierre will be here, our executive director of NORML, and Dr. Rick Baer will be there to present the Dr. Rick Baer Award for Courage Under Fire. This beautiful work by Malady Silverwolf. And Dr. Sandra Camacho is going to be there, as well as Tawana Nichols from the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, our manager, will be giving us a little PowerPoint presentation on the program itself and you know, what it's all about. And that's on Saturday, December the 13th at the Ambridge Event Center at 300 Northeast Multnomah, right here in beautiful Portland, downtown Portland.
And this is the 7th annual
7th
awards.
annual. It's an all-day event. And
there's an awards banquet at night.
There is an awards banquet at night. We give away first, second, and third prize, as well as ribbons for honorable mention. And John Trudell is going to be there.
I'm excited about that. He's my real
do you know
hero.
who John Trudell is?
No.
He's a
Native American activist.
Native American activist and poet.
Spoken poet, musician.
Exactly.
Worked with Jackson
and
Brown.
he is
and
great.
He certainly is.
He is, and he's going to be speaking to at our banquet. So we're pretty excited. We have a hemp fashion show, sustainable fashion show. That's going to be Adam Diaz is working on that, and we've got great hemp vendors, and it's really exciting. Hemp Bristol Rise, Herb Age Design, and we've got the good people from Starfish Design coming in with their. Gosh, I know I'm going to forget the name of this. Gandalf pipes, the big, long medical delivery devices. Yeah, they're really nice. Yes, yes. Well, they're going to be there as well. So we've got a lot of fine people. Dream Glass will be there with their medical delivery devices. THCF, of course.
We, of course, will be there. I know there's some chocolate makers there, generally. There's a lot of different...
Mr. Bliss, Brother Bliss.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, one thing that we've been talking about in the past few weeks is the move to curtail the Medical Marijuana Act by Associated Industries of Oregon, or Oregon Industries. That's
Associated Oregon Industries.
Yeah, AOI.
Yes.
And their Vice President Dan Harmon from Hoffman Construction has been campaigning to chambers of commerce all over the state, saying that they've got to get protections for industries to fire medical marijuana patients. So I know you brought the number here of the House Majority Leader, who's a Democrat, but who is supporting this move to basically take rights away from medical marijuana patients. So you're going to work on a letter campaign tomorrow for all the patients that are going to come there.
That's right. We're going to be at our Oregon NORML meeting tomorrow. We're going to be asking people to please write a letter to their representatives so that they can let them know that we don't want them to support Dan Harmon. We want them to oppose anything that Dan Harmon comes up with. We're trying to get impairment testing, Paul, as you know, and what they want us is to test for, our urinalysis for metabolites.
Right,
and
right, which has no correlation to intoxication or impairment.
Exactly, and we feel that marijuana should be treated just like any other medicine, just like it says in the statute, and that's all we're asking, to be treated equally under the law.
Exactly.
To be protected just like everyone else. As disabled people, we don't need the additional stress.
So we have a couple of numbers that we can pull up here to call our legislators.
There's some on there.
I know in the CG data banks, if you want to call your legislator, if you're an Oregon resident, I urge you to call our congressional representatives. We'll get those numbers up there in just a moment. I guess we have a phone call, though. Hello, caller.
Hi, Paul, Madeline, Doctor, and whoever you are from New York. I haven't met you yet. This is Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
Howdy.
Hi, Deborah.
Hey, we've had a powdery mildew mold problem here, and I was just
hate that stuff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it seems like 4 years ago it started, and, we keep getting it on and off. So I was getting some advice from your phone answer, Andrew, I think. And
yeah, he's a good person to give you some advice.
Yeah, and he was saying that you get the acid water and do some hydrogen peroxide and spray and turn off your lights and then turn your fan on and let them dry out. Anything else you can suggest there? And how do you
there's a few different things. Some people burn sulfur.
Yeah.
So you might pour that on yourself. It can be pretty nasty.
Yeah, well, I'm allergic, and we've tried it several times, so we just gave up on it finally.
During the vegetative session, not during flowering, you can use neem oil to help wipe it out. But the acid water works real well if you can find a good source of that.
Okay. I don't have any idea where to get that, but I can probably look that up and see. You guys do such a great job. I'm very proud to be a grower, a patient, and
thank you,
and a friend of your show. So keep on doing all the good work, and we're here to back you up.
Thank you.
And don't smoke in the rain, Doctor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let another caller get in.
Okay. Thanks for your call.
Look forward to seeing you soon.
Great.
Bye-bye.
And we do have a live studio audience here, and one of our audience members is at the microphone with a question or comment.
I do.
Hi, John.
Hi, Paul. It's a valid question. It's my concern. When is the hemp news scheduled to come out? And what will you do for the advertisers that have paid for their ads that have patiently waited for so long?
Well, they're getting it for free, is what I can say. I don't think it's really appropriate to bring that up in this venue, though, to be honest. But
well, I'm really excited about tomorrow's meeting. I hope people get out there to the meeting to write these letters to our representatives, because this is the only way that we have of letting them know how we feel about Dan Harmon's, coming up with this. It's like this Don Quixote syndrome that he has. Each legislative session he has to come and try to fight the dragon that doesn't exist. There really is no problem. There's an excellent video on the Oregon NORML website that will tell you all about the statistics on OSHA's website that shows that there is no, let's say, the accidents are not going up, rather they've gone down since the implementation of the Oregon Medical Marijuana Act. And you can go on to the Oregon NORML website. Russ Belville, our associate director, has put together this excellent video. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over our chat list.
Paul Loney and he were on the Oregon NORML Hour.
The Oregon NORML Presents, exactly. And he did a real great YouTube presentation. So
and those numbers are on the screen to call the state legislators to urge them to protect the medical marijuana bill and not give in to lobbyists. I guess we have a phone call. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi, gang.
Hi, dude.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
You had said a couple of months ago on the show that there was a initiative petition in the Dakotas that had gone down to defeat regarding the legalization of industrial hemp.
Yeah, in South Dakota.
What was the main reason that the opposition used to get that many people to vote against it?
You know, I wasn't in South Dakota for that. South Dakota is by and large a red state. It's kind of a conservative one overall. North Dakota passed an industrial hemp bill through their legislature, and they've legalized it. I am not sure what the campaign against that was. I know the fellow in South Dakota, Bob Newland, had worked on that hemp bill, but I'm not sure what their argument against it was. You know, it had to have something to do, I would think, with marijuana, though.
I would think so, but them being two different breed of cats completely from the medical kind. I've made a bet with several of the legislators and stuff, including Lars Larson, and tell him, you find me one valid reason why industrial hemp should remain illegal, I'll buy you dinner anywhere you want to go.
Sure.
And I have yet to buy anybody dinner.
Well, there's a $100,000 challenge, I think, out there from Jack Hare that goes back 20 years to anyone who can disprove the utility of hemp as outlined in his book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Yes. And for what it's worth, Jeff Kropp is on our side with industrial hemp.
That's good.
He is. He has been for a long time.
Yeah,
even with medical marijuana, he was trying to see if we could work with a pharmaceutical company to get them on it a few years back in the legislature when we went over to say, no, please, not the pharmaceuticals. Keep them away.
Well, if we can find out the reason that the opposition used on that case back east, why, maybe we can, so to speak, nip it in the bud on this end.
Great.
A lot of people think that if it's hemp, it's marijuana, and that's not true.
I know it.
Totally different.
I mean, I seem to remember that it was a fairly narrow loss. I don't remember exactly the margin, but I think that initiative lost by a fairly narrow margin.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And
just a few
the Dakotas seems to be a hotbed. One of the news items I saw today was apparently there was a case by two state legislators, I think, in North Dakota who want to grow. As you said, North Dakota has legalized industrial hemp, but the DEA is not granting a permit, so they lost in district court, and I think they just had an argument in front of a panel of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals.
I'm a flower grower by trade and have been for 42 years now, and I went to the Far West Nursery Show last year and tried to drum up some support from that end on this, and I was surprised at how many people had absolutely no idea at all about industrial hemp. It just amazed me.
It is amazing. When we've gone around talking about the Octa, it just astounds me that people haven't even heard of it.
Yeah, right here on our show tonight, due to our webmaster, Iko, we have a number of hemp products. We have healthy hemp sprouted bread from a health food store, certified organic since '85. I don't think they've been making hemp bread, but they also have hemp bagels. And, of course, we've shown it time and time again. Hemp milk. This is the Manitoba harvest.
How do you milk a hemp plant?
You press the seeds, and you take the oil and the protein, and that's how you do it. It's the same way you milk a soybean, actually, or that's a lot like making tofu.
We also have the fight going for us with the hemp. They're talking about alternative fuels all the time. And if we can get 300 gallons worth of a diesel alternative from 1 acre of hemp.
Right.
And if
byproduct of a lot of extra food.
And if there's somewhere around between 10 and 20 million acres in this country of farmland lying fallow that the government is paying the farmers to do nothing with, it seems to me like we could come up with a couple of billion gallons pretty fast.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying. We can have some biofuel, and then we can actually feed the hungry with the flour from it, so we could solve all the problems.
Yeah, there you go.
And economics, I mean, we could, we could actually help in this economic crisis that we're in. What are we going to do to solve the problem if not, keep pushing them to make sense?
Well, there's that great movie that we had the producer on last week, Josh Tickell, of the Veggie Van, Fuel. And I understand it sailed over for another week, so it must have done pretty successful.
Yay.
Yeah, I heard it was really good.
Go out and watch it. That's how we have to do. We have to support our people.
Where's it playing?
at the
Okay,
Broadway
that's my
Tower.
Buffalo Nickels worth. I'm going to go now.
Thanks for your call.
Fox Tower.
Okay, bye.
Fox Tower. Yeah, thanks for your call.
I was very interested in your comments about Lars Larson. I was on his show about 5 years ago, and his producer called me and asked me if I'd be willing to be on it, and I says, yes, I will be on it if Lars Larson admits that he used to smoke marijuana. And
so he did.
Huh?
So he did.
Well, one of my comments to one of his weird ones was, Lars, you're very judgmental for a person who used to smoke marijuana, and you didn't say a word.
Oh, okay.
You know, we have a film clip we're going to roll, and we'll be back in just a moment. But before that, I think, Tim, you wanted to say something?
Well, yeah, there was. We were talking about industrial hemp and its growth, and back in '93, I was working with Bill Condi and David Seaver at CNS. We were inventing hemp boards, and one day I was in the office, and I got a call from a gentleman in Canada. He was a farmer from Ottawa named Joe Strobel. And Joe had received some information from the Canadian government at that time. They were wanting to pay him to not grow what he was growing and grow anything else, you know. And so he called us and said, hey, can I get some hemp seeds and grow hemp? And we said, well, we don't know. Maybe you can. So we arranged for him to get some hemp seeds. He went through the Canadian legislature, got a grant from the Canadian legislature to grow hemp seeds and to grow hemp. We used the hemp that he grew to make an experimental board and send it back to him to prove that, indeed, you could grow hemp and make a board out of the hemp, right? This week I got a message. This is from a news report out of Canada. Not only is demand for hemp products skyrocketing, but Canadian hemp seed exports increased by 300% and hemp oil exports by 85% from 2006 to 2007. And one of the country's oldest and largest hemp food producers, Manitoba Hemp Harvest Foods and Oils, is moving into a new state-of-the-art processing plant this week that will boost its production capacity by 500%. In other words, you know, from a little bitty start back in the mid-'90s, their industry is exploding.
Well, it's incredibly healthy.
And that's what we should be doing here. I have no reason to understand we couldn't do that and much more because of our resources available to us. So it just, you know, I just wanted you to know a little piece of history. It had to start sometime. It's got to start here sometime too, and soon. And when it does, our world will change.
Yeah,
that's all I'd say.
Good point. We have a film clip. We'll be back in just a minute.
On the camera. In Wisconsin, hemp is harvested in September. Here, the hemp harvester with automatic spreader is standard equipment. Note how smoothly the rotating apron lays the swath preparatory to retting. Here it is a common and essential practice to leave headlands around hemp fields. These strips may be planted to other crops, preferably small grain. Thus, the harvester has room to make its first round without preparatory hand cutting. Here the machine is running over corn stubble. When the cutter bar is much shorter than the hemp is tall, overlapping occurs. Not so good for retting. The standard cut is 8 to 9 feet. The length of time hemp is left on the ground to ret depends on the weather. The swaths must be turned to get a uniform ret. When the woody core breaks away readily, like this, the hemp is about ready to take up and bind into bundles. Well-retted hemp is light to dark gray. The fiber tends to pull away from the stalk. The presence of stalks in the bowstring stage indicates that retting is well underway. When hemp is short or tangled, or when the ground is too wet for machines, it is bound by hand. A wooden buck is used. Twine will do for tying, but the hemp itself makes a good band. When conditions are favorable, the pickup binder is commonly used. The swaths should lie smooth and even with stalks parallel. The picker won't work well in tangled hemp. After binding, hemp is shocked as soon as possible to stop further retting. In 1942, 14,000 acres of fiber hemp were harvested in the United States. The goal for 1943 is 300,000 acres. Thus, hemp, Cannabis sativa, the old standby cordage fiber, is staging a strong comeback. This is Kentucky hemp going into the dryer of a mill at Versailles. In the old days, breaking was done by hand, one of the hardest jobs known to man. Now the power breaker makes quick work of it. Spinning American hemp into rope yarn or twine in the old Kentucky River Mill at Frankfort, Kentucky. Another pioneer plant that has been making cordage for more than a century. All such plants will presently be turning out products spun from American-grown hemp. Twine of various kinds for tying, winding armatures, and upholsterers' work. Rope for marine rigging and towing, for hay forks, derricks, and heavy-duty tackle. Light-duty fire hose. Thread for shoes for millions of American soldiers. And parachute webbing for our paratroopers. As for the United States Navy, every battleship requires 34,000 feet of rope, and other craft accordingly. So here in the Boston Navy Yard, where cables for frigates were made long ago, crews are now working night and day making cordage for the fleet. In the old days, rope yarn was spun by hand. Today, even the rope walk is mechanized. 160 fathoms to go. The rope yarn feeds through holes in an iron plate.
I'm inspired every time I see that. And it ends, I wanted to keep playing it because it ends so patriotically, you know. It makes me want to salute or something.
Aww. And it's a great time for feeling patriotic, isn't it, with the election?
The new election. I feel more patriotic now than I have in 8 years, at least.
Yeah, at least 8 years.
Right.
Yes,
but,
yes.
We have a caller, I think, who's been standing by. Hello, caller. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
I wanted to mention how much energy they have to put out just to get some ethanol from corn.
Corn out the roof. Where if they made hemp oil and hemp foods and hemp fuels, if you made hemp fuel, the byproduct is food. So you're going to make more food rather than less food, which is what happens with ethanol.
They have to put in a lot of fertilizer just to get that corn versus putting in no fertilizer for industrial hemp.
I hear myself talking. Stop it.
Self-talking. You can't. But I agree. I agree. Then that's what we're trying to do is get industrial hemp and alternative fuels out there, and you should go see that movie Fuel at the Fox Tower. I've heard it's really good. I'm going to get a chance now that it's stayed in town. But thanks for your phone call. If you have a question for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448.
Shall I answer?
Doctor, yeah, you wrote an interesting article in the Salem News about Dan Harmon's little attempt to curtail the rights of medical marijuana patients.
Right. Actually, he had about 20 points that he was attacking marijuana, and I don't think I've got time enough here to do this, but on Salem-News, the title is Medical Marijuana Ignorance. Lobbyist Dan Harmon's advisor wins first prize. This is how it starts. Whoever was Dan Harmon's advisor, he didn't know or understand anything about state medical marijuana program, and especially the victims requiring the medicine. The state of Oregon says it is medicine. 12 other states have similar laws. I will attempt to clarify the mistakes of Dan Harmon and his advisor. Number one, every other medicine they can think of is more dangerous than cannabis. Morphine-like painkillers are extremely dangerous. Alcohol and other dangerous brain depressants are rarely tested for. Why not? High school students know about drugs, and the DARE program is an absolute failure. Treatment options for drug abuse are an excellent idea for morphine, meth, and alcohol. Legal medical cannabis users don't really need it. The problems are rare. Number 5, amending the OMMA laws to stop abuse won't work. These medical patients, card holders, are not the abuser. They can't afford to waste money.
So for the rest of those, Doctor, what's the website on that they can
Salem-news.com. It's a hyphen.
It's a hyphen. Or a dash. It's the same thing.
Almost.
Yeah.
But if you don't put the hyphen or the dash in there, you get Salem, Massachusetts.
No, you don't want that.
No. But this is one of one of my 42 articles, and I also have 26 videos on Salem-News.
Excellent.
And they're pretty good, aren't they?
They're pretty dang good. Every time I go there and check them out, you should go.
Yay.
Salem-news.com.
It's the same thing. It's the same
thing.
Hyphen.
I've got a question about your program out here.
This is our 470th show.
So actually, I mean your OMA program, not your...
Oh, the OMA program.
Just that little thing.
That other program.
That's going to be 10 years old.
I spent a wonderful time with Madeline and some of the audience members in Berkeley at the National NORML Conference, and I'm constantly amazed about what's going on in California in terms of the depth that they've taken medical marijuana in terms of testing the law. And one of the news items I read this week is that the California Department of Motor Vehicles is taking away licenses from people just for being patients.
Yeah.
How has the response been?
That hasn't happened here in Oregon.
It hasn't happened here in Oregon, but we did have a concern, and we have for the last couple of years, that concealed weapons licenses are not being renewed. They're being stopped if they find out, and now they're questioning whether you're a medical marijuana patient. Oregon NORML, one of our members, paid to have to take the case all the way to the court, and the court threw it out. The judge threw it out once he heard it. But my fear, I don't use a concealed weapon, but my fear is that if they start with that, then our driver's licenses are going to be next. And our rights to drive, it's ridiculous. Where will they stop? That's my concern. When will it stop? And if we don't stop it with the concealed weapons, that's next. But no, we haven't had any of that yet.
Right. I mean, it's just, all this seems to be basically sort of a rearguard action.
Exactly.
After the voters have already approved medical marijuana, the bureaucrats just try and throw up as many roadblocks as they can get away with.
And this is exactly what Dan Harmon's doing. In last legislative session, they came at us where they wanted to keep us out of federal housing. They wanted to keep us from running for public office, becoming law enforcement, student loans. And it was horrible, and they continue to come at us. every legislative session, and that's why many of us feel that we need to, medical marijuana is a beautiful thing, and it's a 10-year-old program, but we need to move beyond it now. Because what about last time we were on, Paul, we had a gentleman call and they took their child from them.
Yeah, and I hear that almost every day of the week.
We hear these horror
office.
Stories, and they have a card.
Yeah,
it doesn't
matter. They have to fight to get their children back.
Someone cavalierly said to me, well, in a few months they can get their child back. You know, I don't know if they've ever had a child.
One day is a traumatic event.
If I couldn't have my child, I wouldn't be able to breathe. I mean, I would not be able to breathe without them.
You know,
if they were taken from
10 minutes is a traumatic event for a child to be taken
imagine.
Away by some stranger like that.
And it's very frightening to all of us. But no, we've been really lucky because we have the registry, as Paul put this years ago, and I really listened. We pay a tax or a tariff. This is protection money. Yeah. We're protected from prosecution. That's it.
There's that point where they took $900,000 of the patient's money to fund other Oregon health care programs. Well, they've done it now. They've passed the line. They've taken the proceeds. So now they're part of the conspiracy, if there is such a thing.
Has that been challenged in court? Are they allowed to
they
take?
Did it. It was a legislative bill. We didn't try to challenge it. The fees went up on patients temporarily at the time, but they've come back down again now.
Yes, they've legitimized
a temporary surcharge, basically.
Yeah.
Well, we had a surplus, and they looked at it and they said, "Ooh, we have a budget shortfall." There's that surplus, and so they took over $900,000, and they did it once.
Sick and dying people's money to fund other sick and dying people's health care.
You know, at first I was really upset about it, but then I thought, well, you know, that really legitimized our program, and it makes them, as Paul said, they're partners now with us in the conspiracy.
We have another caller here. Hello, caller, you're on the show.
Too bad we couldn't turn it off and on without a
turn that TV down. Please, thank
you.
It sounds like it was a prank call. You just never know on these
they have
cable
nothing better to
shows,
do.
You know? It sounded like they were a little crazy. But if you're a legitimate caller with a real question, you can call us at 503-288-4448. We've got maybe about less than 10 minutes to go to take phone calls. But so it goes. Now, if you're out there and you have one of the qualifying conditions for medical marijuana, then we have doctors who can help you all across the western United States. In Portland, there are a number of doctors who can help patients get medical marijuana permits. You can get a referral for those physicians by calling our Portland number, which is 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. If you're interested in clinics in any other part of the country, you can call our toll-free number at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. We're now seeing patients in Michigan and Montana as of this week in Montana, and 2 weeks from now in Michigan, in addition to Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Hawaii, and Colorado. We also have classes for patients here in Oregon. If you're interested in those classes, and you can give us a call at 503-235-4606. We have beginning, intermediate, and advanced growing classes, and classes on how to make medicinal grade hashish, and those you have to have a permit for, and another class on understanding the medical marijuana law. You don't have to be a patient to take that one. They're incredibly cheap, so give us a call if you're interested in that. And then there's a little promo for the Oregon NORML meeting tomorrow for patients. And if you're a patient, you want to go to the corner of Southeast 49th and Hawthorne, the Mount Tabor Theater there, and be there by 11:30 to get in.
Right.
Be sure to bring your ID and your medical marijuana permit.
And be ready to write, to be proactive, to write a letter to your representative to let them know that you need them to support medical marijuana and patients' rights. And, you know, if you don't do it, who's going to do it? So we all need to go out there. We're going to have about 200 letters, and we're going to get, especially those of you who are willing to take the time out to handwrite a letter for us, you're going to be in a special drawing. So come on out. Tomorrow, Oregon NORML's meeting. Doors open at 11 a.m. Have your state ID or driver's license, as well as your OMMP card or paperwork that's date stamped for us, and you can get in. You can purchase your membership right at the door. So we'd love to see you there.
How special are those prizes?
They're very
They're
special. Absolutely.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been on Vicodin for almost 9 years now.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
And I've got a bad back. I'm on Social Security disability. And I need to get off of these things. And
well, you know, what we see all across the board in all of our clinics across America is that chronic pain patients are able to dramatically reduce the amount of opiates and narcotics, Vicodin and OxyContin, morphine and fentanyl. All of the use of those goes down dramatically, and in some cases ceases entirely with the use of cannabis. And so if you don't have a medical permit, you can definitely get one and see how that works for you.
I was also diagnosed 3 months ago with full-blown glaucoma, worse in my right eye than my left.
Right.
You are absolutely eligible.
And I've tried it. See, I don't smoke.
Right.
My
I quit
wife
smoking myself.
My wife has smoked, but I'm concerned about all of this medicine that I'm taking, and they want to give me drops for my eyes, which I don't know if I would still have to take them along with.
You know, what happens is there are a number of drugs they can use to combat glaucoma, but generally you build up a tolerance to them and you have to switch to the next drug, and there's only about 5 of them. If you use cannabis, those drugs will last a lot longer and be more effective. So we don't tell glaucoma patients not to use their other medications, but to use cannabis in addition to it. And for your chronic pain and for glaucoma and for spasms and seizures, taking cannabis orally works better. That means eating something or making a capsule out of it. We have a recipe that Dr. Rick Baer, the chief petitioner on the Oregon Medical Marijuana Act back in '98, put together to make capsules, little 00 size capsules. If you make one of those, you take one in the morning, one in the middle of the day, and one in the evening. And you don't even have to get the high associated with cannabis to get pain relief and relief from glaucoma.
Maybe there's a lot of people out there that like the high. That's the thing that I didn't really want is to go around.
And you don't have to have that. You can make something out of the leaf of the plant, and if you eat a small amount of it, you'll get relief from pain, relief from glaucoma, without the associated high from THC. What you're getting is CBD, and that's cannabidiol, and that doesn't cause a high, but that is the compound that helps patients with pain, spasms, seizures, and glaucoma.
And you can actually find that recipe for those green capsules on the Oregon NORML website.
Oh, great.
At ornorml.org. We've got them up there, and we try to get them to all the patients.
Yeah, we give them out at our offices as well, along with recipes on how to make butters and oils that you can make into other foods.
Capsule kit there, don't you?
Yeah, we sell the little capsule kits, the Cap'em Quick kits, so you can make 50 at a time yourself.
So should I call this other number during the day, the 235-4606?
You don't even have to wait till in the day. You could call it right now, leave a message in your phone number, and someone will call you back tomorrow.
Okay.
So there's an answering machine on there 24 hours a day, and there are people that answer the phone 6 days a week. And if you leave a message tonight, I think probably you'll get a call back tomorrow.
Well, I know that I'm really worried about my liver because the Vicodin I'm taking is 10-650s.
Right. Well, the cannabis will not do anything to harm your liver at all, and it will help it.
And there is a better quality of life that you can live with cannabis. It's you're not in that drug-induced stupor that you feel with those painkillers that we all have experienced. I used to take Vicodin because I had to. And I don't have to anymore.
Okay.
There's a better way.
Well, thank you very much, and I will follow up on this and call the other number, and I'm looking forward to a better lifestyle because I think I'm killing myself right now with all of the
unfortunately, we hear that a lot, but we'll be very happy to help you.
Okay.
Try this
alternative. Called the right show.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You have a good evening.
You too.
Thanks.
Where's that guy been, for goodness sake?
Well, you know, you just never know. It's hard to say. But, you know, people discover these things and they hear about them, and it just takes a while to work its way through our culture. You know, right now we have, what, about 20,000 card holders, 22,000?
22,000, and it's so quickly growing. It
could be 200,000, and that would just barely scratch the surface of the people that cannabis would help. And you know, that's what we're about, is educating you, the viewer, and helping you spread the word. We're about out of time. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Doug Green from Cures Not Wars?
It's great to be out here. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm hoping some of the Oregon goodness and West Coast openness to medical marijuana is replicated as soon as possible by the New York State Legislature next year, and we start developing our own medical marijuana community in New York.
I'm sure you will. I'll tell you, you pass the law, we'll go open a clinic there.
Yeah.
Excellent. We look forward to it.
Thank you. Dr. Levesque?
Yes.
Any admonitions outside of the rain?
Well, you stole my line there.
I know. I have.
Well, this lady that called earlier on the evening says to don't smoke in the rain. Well, I have had some people ask, why can't I smoke in the rain? I said, well, if you have to ask that question, you've been smoking some high-grade stuff.
Madeline, you want to say anything in closing?
Well, I just want to ask everybody to come out to the Oregon NORML cardholder meeting tomorrow. If you're a cardholder, come out. We're ready for you. And we have our lovely self-sustained community, so come on out and enjoy it.
It's a lot of fun.
It really is.
Hope to see you there sometime. And I want to just ask you to tune in next week. If you want, take a look at our web portal, hemp.org. That's H-E-M-P, hemp.org. And that'll take you to all our different sites and links to Oregon NORML and Michigan NORML and all the different normals.
If you're a vendor and you want to come out to the Oregon Medical Cannabis Awards, we still have a couple of tables left. So contact us at ornorml.org.
It's always a big and fun event.
Yes, it is.
So tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Without further ado, we'll let Mr. Tim Pate take us out.